Hello everyone, this is Coach Oliver once again. Welcome to day number 1 of the Airthings Masters 2022. And here we are going to discuss Nepomniachtchi's win against Magnus Carlsen. So Nepo has salvaged some pride here. I think this is their first game, first rematch after that World Championship. After that forgettable World Championship for Nepomniachtchi. All right, let's go through the game. Magnus was white. And for d4, the ever reliable Catalan. Magnus has been employing this even online chess. He's playing Catalan. Should be 7, should be 2, cancels, he takes c4, and a3 takes, bishop d7, a4. Bishop c6, bishop a3. They are following Carlsen's game against Geary in last month's Tata Steel, where Carlsen won a pretty strong game against Anish. Okay, with a4, bishop attacks that rook on f8, rook into e8, queen into c2, queen into c4, knight e7, rook ac1. Double up on that c7 pawn. In this game, this is Nepomniachtchi's improvement to that Geary's game, because in that game by Magnus against Geary, Geary went for a6, and Carlsen went on to win the game after queen takes c4, queen c3, and then with a beautiful exchange sacrifice, c6. Okay, in this game, Nepo went for bishop d5. Of course, this is preparation, yes. Rook e1, Magnus is trying to hit the e4 square. Rook c8, protecting c7. e4. Bishop c6, knight into d2. Magnus tries to capture it with the knight with the idea of knight a5. Pressure on bishop and the d7 pawn. So c3, knight b1. Okay, the main point of c3 is that if the queen takes on c3, he has bishop takes e4, right? That's why he played rook c8 to protect c7 earlier. So knight b1, queen protects a4, knight will take that pawn c3. Knight into b6, a5, knight into a4. If the knight goes to c4, for example, this bishop e4, you cannot take this pawn on d4 here, because the bishop takes c3, yes. If the, let's say the queen moves to c5, this takes on f6, takes on f6, and you lose piece c4. So knight a4 was forced. Magnus went for knight takes c3, queen to d4, and Magnus here blundered with knight takes a4, right? Although it's hard to find this move e5 could have given Magnus an edge here. The main point of e5 is that, okay, let's say, for example, the knight goes to d5, knight takes. If pawn takes, there's bishop h3, right? Rook goes anywhere. Okay, rook can go d8, rook can go b8, but the main thing here is the a6 pawn, removing the defender on b7 to the bishop on c6. The queen can go c7 later on, this bishop can go to e6, yeah. And white is winning. Okay, it's hard to find, especially in rapid. Maybe in classical, Magnus would have seen e5, and maybe he would play it after a 15 to 20-minute thought, yeah. And here, since it's a faster time control, the rapids, even for knight takes a4. Takes on a4, queen takes a4, queen takes a4. Black has an extra pawn, white has double pawns. Compensation, okay, 2 bishops, but not more than that. Bishop into b2, b6. Yeah. Bishop f1, trying to activate the bishop, because if you push this pawn to e5, there's knight e5. Black is just controlling the board, yes, with the domination of the knight. So bishop f1, c5, f3, rook e8, Nepomniachtchi could have played b5 also, right? b5, c4. Pawns. And for rook d8, control the open file. Rook c6, h5, 97, e5, tempo, rook e6, knight f8. Main point of knight f. Okay, the main point of knight f8 is to go e6 and e4. f4, bishop c2, takes e5, rook g6. Okay, here in this position also, after here, takes e5, if let's say you capture the rook, takes on d6, it was also possible for black to take an a2. Yes, connected pawns in. This is his hanging, then I can jump to e6. Then for rook g6, takes an e4, rook b7. Oh, nice counterplay here by Magnus. Now takes e6. The rook cannot take this pawn, yes, with the bishop c8. So now takes e6, takes in b6, takes, rook takes b6. Now, okay, black is opponent, but it's close to equality. h5, nice move by black, threatening h4 with a pin on the king on g1. Bishop c4, h4, yes, takes. Rook b8, king h7. All Magnus has to do here is to exchange the rooks, because this is an opposite colored bishop. All right, so rook f4, rook check, king f2, rook into f6, takes on c5. Okay, the decisive mistake here by Magnus. Here he could just go for rook takes f6, yes, takes on f6, and only then you take on c5. There's a big difference if rook b2, this king e3, so it's not possible to go for that one. Yes. If you, let's say you attack that pawn on h2, this king e3, you have a tempo on the bishop. And if the bishop goes to e5, for example, okay, I can go to b4, hitting that pawn h4. Takes. Again, if the bishop takes, exchange the rook, right? Takes, and it's easier to draw. Yeah. You can put that bishop on d4, put the king on f4, if e5, just take it. Draw. So rook f6, bishop takes e5. Okay, the critical mistake by Magnus now rook takes f4, g takes f4, bishop d5, although here Nepomniachtchi also blundered. Okay, he could just do rook h1 straight away here. Yes, rook takes h2 is unstoppable, because if king e3, right, bishop c2, no rook b2. You can get that pawn for free. This pawn just promotes on h1, light square bishop. Bishop d5, b2. Magnus is about to hold. King1, king g6. But the activity of the king here is pretty obvious. Rook c3, rook c1, king d2, rook a1. Rook takes on a4, rook a2, rook a7. It's drawable if there's a turn, but it's hard. It's hard for the player who has a disadvantage to save this game. It's hard for the defender. White is a defender here with 2 pawns against 3. Yeah, it's a pawn down. So king f5, rook a1, rook 7. He tries to exchange the rooks, but to no avail. Rook g1, bishop g2, discovered check on the king. h3, 2 steps away from promotion. Rook to b7. All right, bishop d5 back. Check. g6, and the blunder by Magnus. A counter blunder by. Okay. Here, after g6, Magnus could have at least played bishop c3. Although white, black is slightly better in this endgame with an active king, right, and a passive king. Okay, the pawn, that's of course very dangerous. 2 steps away from promotion. But the white may hold. White may hold. Rook g5. Counter blunder is just king takes f4. He was probably worried about it. Okay, Nepo was worried about rook takes g6, but bishop e4. There is rook d3 check. Because it's bishop f5. Yeah. And the rook is out of place. Yeah. If you go bishop c3, now rook a3, hitting this one. Yeah. The bishop couldn't protect that pawn. If you go, for example, bishop b4, rook a2, king c3, e5 first, and then h2. As if, let's say you take this one, this rook takes e6. That's the trick. So you have to be careful. Huh? So e5 is important. Played first. In chess, you have to look at these little nuances, yeah, the small details in certain positions. You may think that carry takes is the same, yes, because if check, then there's e5, right? But what happens if rook takes e6? The pawn cannot defend on e5 if you capture the rook with bishop e6, and rook is dead on h2, and it's going to be a draw. Okay, so counter blunder with king e4, although it's understandable because this is also a double attack on the bishop and the pawn on f4. Bishop e5, rook f3 again, rook a3, right? It's screaming to be played. So rook f3, threatening a rook f2, king e1, bishop c4. Okay, the final blunder. Check c3, bishop e5, takes on h2, king e4, king f5, king to c4, rook c2, king d6, and the pawn is unstoppable. So Nepomniachtchi wins. That was an important win by Nepo against Magnus. And with this win by Nepo, at least he erases the ghost of the World Championship, at least. Yeah. Nepo was also winning some tournaments lately, Title Tuesday a week ago, and also the Rapid Chess Championship in chess.com. So he has been winning this faster time controls, yeah. And that's what cost him, by the way, in the World Championship in the classical match, because he was playing a little bit too fast. If he slowed down a little bit in that match, maybe it could have gone to 12 games, or maybe 14 games, or maybe it could go to the tiebreak. Who knows? But he was just playing too fast in the World Championship, and that cost him. But it only shows also that he is just like Nakamura, right? They're superior in faster time controls. So now Nepo is trailing Ding Liren by 1 point. The scoring system here is 3 points for a win, 1 point for a draw. Nepo lost his first game against Aronian, but won 3 in a row. He won over. Okay, here he won over Carlsen in the last game here, and the 2 others. Ding Liren also, now Ding Liren has 10 out of 12, leading in day number 1. Okay, for the prelims, there are 8 players who will qualify for the quarterfinals. It will be a knockout quarterfinals, and then semis, and then the finals. So Carlsen now is in the 11th place. So he is in danger of not qualifying for the quarterfinals. But there's still how many games left? Okay. Tomorrow will be round 5 to 8, I guess. So expect more exciting games in this tournament, and we will continue to cover the rest of the games in the Airthings Masters 2022. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for your support for our channel on Facebook and YouTube, Charles Max Chess. Again, this is Coach Oliver. Stay safe, everyone.